Good morning, everyone.
I am John Heldunton, and now we were going to discuss the Rizal life, family, childhood, and early education with my group mates, which is the group 3, Quizime Dordi, Erlin Q, Twyla Jane Roda, Almay de la Cruz, Jimmer Soboyes, Lan Edsel Elizares, and Ana Marie de Piton. But before that, this is the learning outcomes, analyze Rizal family, childhood, and early education, evaluate the people and events and their influences on Rizal early life, getting new ideas about Rizal, also some information about his life. We tackled about the family of Rizal and to have some idea from them, improvements of knowledge and ideas that related to our topics. And now, come with me to adventure some idea and information about Jose Rizal life. We all know that Jose Rizal is a very popular for us because he is our hero and he is a very historical person in the Philippines. But during his early childhood, Rizal shown dominant disposition at different areas as intellectual, creative, artistic, and excelled in his academic field. At the early of age of 3, he started to learn alphabet and prayers. When he reached the age of 5, he learned how to read and write. At the age of 8, he wrote his first poem which was written in Tagalog. It was entitled Sa Aking Mga Kababata. The poem has a meaningful message which has them love of one's language. The first teacher of Rizal was his beloved mother. She played an important role in teaching him valuable lesson, and she discovered that her son has a great potential. His mother gave so much encouragement on his Rizal passion in writing. Jose Rizal spent in early education in Calamba and Binyan, Laguna. The Spanish educational system was very complex, but despite all the odds that he had to experience, Jose Rizal managed to accomplish all necessary requirements for college in Manila. His parents hired private tutors for Rizal, and they were Maestro Celestino, Maestro Lucas, and Leon Monroy. But the idea of employing private tutors didn't satisfy his young mind's eagerness for knowledge, and the family started to complete their son's admission to Ateneo Municipal de Manila. While he was studying in Manila, Jose Rizal took a degree in land surveying and assessment, where he graduated with honors on March 14, 1877. He successfully passed the licensure exam on the said course in 1978, and he was given a license when he reached the age of 21. It was the year of 1878 when he completed his degree from Ateneo Municipal de Manila, and he followed his passion in arts. He had his admission at the Faculty of Arts and Letters, which is has degree in philosophy at the University of Santo Tomas. Unfortunately, Jose Rizal has to set aside his degree in philosophy when he heard his mother I'm depending blindness, so he needed to prioritize his mother's situation. It made him decided to study medicine, and it was year 1978 when he had his admission in the Faculty of Medical Science at University of Santo Tomas to specialize ophthalmology. Jose Rizal didn't stop his burning passion and willingness to learn, and it made him to take the risk to live in the Philippines. On this scenario, Jose Rizal was known as a great Filipino traveler in the history. His first trip was on year 1882, which was bound to Spain. Having gone through many places, he learned nearly 22 languages like Latin, Spanish, Greek, English, French, German, Arabic, Malay, Sanskrit, Hebrew, Dutch, Catalan, Japanese, Italian, Chinese, Portuguese, Sweden, and Russian, including his native language and dialects. Rizal had traveled different countries and has been to Singapore, Colombo, Sri Lanka, Egypt, Italy, France, Spain, Germany, Czech Republic, Australia, Bahavia, Switzerland, Italy, Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, USA, and United Kingdom. These adventures of a hero serve as important aspect of his education, where he learned others' nation, culture, and politics. This travel of Rizal have something to do with his desire to bring changes on his beloved native land and struggles he had to conquer. Meanwhile, When Rizal was in Spain, he continued his degree in medicine and philosophy at the Universidad Central de Madrid. It was on year 1884 and 1885 that he finished his degree respectively that were once denied to him by his Dominican professor while he was still studying in the Philippines. But ever after the completion of this higher degree, he was still not contented with his achievements. He eventually traveled to the France and studied at the University of Paris. After that, do you have some ideas about Francisco Mercado? Francisco Incracio Rizal Mercado y Alejandro, May 11, 1818, January 5, 1898, was the father of the Philippines' national hero, which is Jose Rizal. He was born in Binyan, Laguna. He had a wife named Teodora Rialonda y Quintos and had 11 children altogether. Teodora Alonso Rialonda y Quintos, November 9, 1827, August 16, 1911, was a wealthy woman in the Spanish colonial Philippines. She was best known as the mother of Philippines' national hero, which is Jose Rizal. Rialonda was born in the Santa Cruz, Manila. She was also known as being disciplinarian and hardworking mother. Her medicine condition inspired Rizal to take up the medicine.
Good morning, everyone. I am the next reporter. I am Crazy Macy Dorde, so I will discuss about the Rizal children. First, Saturnina Rizal, 1850 to 1913. Saturnina Rizal Mercado D. Hidalgo, or simply Saturnina Hidalgo, was the eldest sister of the Philippine national hero, Jose Rizal. She was married to Manuel T. Hidalgo, a native and one of the richest persons in Tanuan, Batangas. She was known as Nini. She diligently reported daily events and happenings in Calamba and told stories in vivid detail about the Rizal family. When Jose was overseas during Rizal's hardships abroad, Saturnina sent him a diamond ring to help him with his fiancée. Second, Pasiano Rizal, 1851 to 1930. Pasiano Rizal is our national hero's older brother. He served as Rizal's guardian while the latter was studying in Spain. Pasiano Rizal was a huge influence to Rizal's life. He would constantly send money to Spain and update his younger brother of the prior's abuses in the Philippines through letters. Third, Narcisa Rizal, 1852 to 1939. Narcisa Rizal has a pet name called Sisa. She got married to Antonio Lopez, a school teacher of Morong. She is the first in the family to get married. She was the confidante of Jose and their brother Pasiano Rizal. It was Narcisa who was diligent about visiting Rizal when he was imprisoned in Fort Santiago. She said that she was linked to a second mother to her brother. Fourth, Olympia Rizal, 1855 to 1887. Olympia Rizal was the fourth child of Francisco Mercado and Teodora Alonso and a sister of Jose Rizal. Olympia married Silvestre Ubaldo, a telegraph operator from Manila. The couple perhaps had no permanent address, for they would stay wherever Silvestre was assigned as a telegraph. Wherever Olympia and Silvestre were, they corresponded with Jose, telling him updates about the family, like about their son Aristes. While in Bulacan in October 82, Olympia wrote Jose about Saturnina's giving birth and the cholera epidemic in Bulacan and Laguna, perhaps missing her brother. She asked Rizal to try to come home as soon as possible. Fifth, Lucia Rizal, 1857 to 1919. Lucia Mercado Rizal was the fifth child of Don Francisco Mercado and Doña Teodora Alonso, an elder sister of the Philippine national hero Dr. Jose Rizal. She got married to Mariano Herbosa of Calamba, who was a nephew of Father Casañas. Lucia shared a tight-knit relationship with Rizal, or Pepe, as the family fondly called him. She was one of the first Rizal sisters to marry, along with a Narcisa. Though not much has been told about Rizal's relationship with her during their early years, the records in Rizal's collections of letters portray a rather casual and sometimes humorous exchange of stories between them. 6. Maria Rizal, 1859 to 1945. Maria Rizal is the sixth child in the family. Her nickname was called Biang. She got married to Daniel Faustino Cruz of Biñan, Laguna. It was to her home Jose talked about writing to marry Josephine Bracken when the majority of the Rizal family was apparently not amenable to the idea of Jose, and also brought up to Maria his plan of the establishing a Filipino colony in the North British Borneo. 7. Jose Rizal, 1861 to 1896. Jose Rizal, the greatest Filipino hero and fearless genius. His nickname was Pepe. He lived with Josephine Bracken, Irish girl from Hong Kong. He had a son, but this baby boy died a few hours after birth. Rizal named him Francisco after his father and buried him in Dapitan. He was executed by the Spanish colonial government for the crime of rebellion after the Philippine Revolution broke out. It was inspired by his writings, though he was not actively involved in its planning or conduct. He ultimately approved of its goal, which eventually resulted in Philippine independence. Rizal is widely considered one of the greatest heroes of the Philippines and has been recommended to be so honored by an official impaneled National Heroes Committee. However, no law, executive order, or proclamation has been enacted or issued officially proclaiming any Filipino historical figure as a national hero. He wrote the novels Noli Me Tangere, the year of 1887, and the El Filibusterismo, the year of 1891, which together are taken as a national epic, in addition to numerous poems and essays. 8. Concepcion Rizal, 1862 to 1865. Concepcion Rizal, also called Concha by their siblings, was the eighth child of the Rizal family. She died at the age of 3 of his sister. It is said that Pepe loved most the little Concha, who was a year younger than him. When Concha died of sickness in 1865, Jose mournfully wept at losing her. Later wrote in his memoir, "When I was 4 years old, I lost my little Concha, and then, for the first time, I shed tears caused by the laugh and grief." 9. Josefa Rizal, 1865 to 1945. Josefa Rizal, nickname is Pangoy. She is the ninth child in the family who died a spinster. In Jose Rizal's letter to his sister, Jose praised her for nearly mastering the English language. Among Jose's letters to Josefa, the one dated October 26, 1893, is perhaps the most fascinating written in English. The letter addressed Josefa as Miss Josephine Rizal, thereby making her the namesake of Rizal's girlfriend, Josephine Bracken. 10. Trinidad Rizal, 1868 to 1951. Trinidad Rizal, or Trining, was the 10th child and the custodian of Rizal's last and greatest poem, Mi o Temo Adios. She was died an old maid in 1951, aged 83. Trinidad Rizal Y. Alonso, commonly known as Trinidad Rizal, was a Filipina feminist leader and co-founder of the Philippines' first feminist organizations, the Association for Feminista Filipina. She was the younger sister of the national hero, physician, and writer, Dr. Jose Rizal. The last child of Rizal family, Soledad Rizal, 1870 to 1929. Soledad Rizal was the youngest sister of Jose Rizal, also called Coleng. Being a teacher, she was arguably the best educated among Rizal's sisters. In his long and meaty letter to Coleng, dated June 1890, Jose told her sister that he was proud of her for becoming a teacher. He thus counseled her to be a model of virtues and good qualities, for the one who should teach should be better than the person who need her learning. Rizal nonetheless used the topic as a leverage in somewhat rebuking her sister for getting married to Batalyon Quitero of Calamba without their parents' consent. "Because of you," he wrote, "the peace of our family has been disturbed." Some timeless lesson in ethics and good manners can be learned from the letter of Jose Rizal to his younger sister. For instance, it reveals that Jose was very much against women who allow themselves to be courted outside their homes. He said to Colin, "If you have a sweetheart, behave towards him nobly and with dignity, instead of resorting to secret meetings and conversation which do nothing but lower a woman's worth in the eye of a man. You should value more esteem, more you honor, and you will be more esteemed and valued."
Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Rialonda, the seventh child of Francisco Ingracio Rizal Mercado y Alejandro, and his wife, Chidora Morales Alonzo Rialonda y Quintos, was born in Calamba, June 19, 1861. He was a typical Filipino, for few persons in this land of mixed blood could boast a greater mixture than his. Practically, all the ethnic elements, perhaps even the Negrito in the far past, combined in his blood. All his ancestors, except the doubtful strain of the Negrito, had been immigrants to the Philippines, early Malays, and later Sumatrans, Chinese of prehistoric times, and the refugees of the Tartar Dominion, and Spaniards of Old Castile and Valencia representatives of all the various peoples who have blended to make the strength of the Philippine race. Shortly before Jose's birth, his family had built a pretentious new home in the center of Calamba on a lot which Francisco Mercado had inherited from his brother. The house was destroyed before its usefulness had ceased by the vindictiveness of those who hated the man-child that was born there. And later on, the gratitude of a free people held the same spot sacred because there began that life consecrated to the Philippines and finally given for it. After preparing the way of the union of the various disunited Chinese mestizos, Spanish mestizos, and half a hundred dialectically distinguished Indians into the united people of the Philippines.
Good day, everyone. I am Twyla Jane Roda, your reporter on Rizal's childhood. But before that, I am going to give a short overview about Jose Rizal's life. So again, Jose P. Rizal was born on June 19, 1861. Seventh child of Francisco Mercado Rizal and Teodora E. Quintos in Calamba, Laguna. Rizal spent his youth at Calamba before fighting for the independence of the Philippines. His mother almost died giving birth to Rizal because of his big head. Rizal has a mix of Chinese blood because of his ancestor Domingo Lamco. Pepe is the nickname of Jose Rizal. Jose was christened in the nearby church when 3 days old. And as two out-of-town bands happened to be in Calamba for a local festival, music was a feature of the event. His godfather was Father Pedro Casanas, a Filipino priest of a Calamba family. And the priest who christened him was also a Filipino, Father Rufino Colliantes. Pepe was baptized on June 22 in the Catholic of Calamba. The Father Rufino Colliantes, who baptized Rizal, was originally came from Batangas and a family priest of Rizal. While Father Pedro Casanas, his godfather, was originally from Calamba and one of the closest family friends of the Rizals. The following is a translation of the record of Rizal's birth and baptismal record, which stated, "I, the undersigned parish priest of the town of Calamba, certify that from the investigation made with proper authority for replacing the parish books which were burned September 28, 1862, to be found in the docket number 1 of baptisms, page 49, it appears by the sworn testimony of competent witnesses that Jose Rizal Mercado is a legitimate son and the lawful wedlock of Don Francisco Rizal Mercado and Doña Teodora Rialonda. Having been baptized in this parish on the 22nd day of June in the year 1861 by the parish priest Reverend Rufino Collantes, Reverend Pedro Casanas being his godfather. It was signed by the witnesses Leoncio Lopez. The first memory of Rizal in his infancy was his happy days in garden when he was 3 years old. His father built him a small hut or kubo where Rizal can play every morning. Rizal was a sick child and not blessed with stature. At 3, he also learned his letters, having insisted upon being taught to read and being allowed to share the lessons of an elder sister. Immediately thereafter, he was discovered with her storybook, spelling out its words by the aid of the syllabary or katon, which he had propped up before him and was using as one does a dictionary in a foreign language. The little boy spent also much of his time in the church, which was conveniently near. But when the mother suggested that this might be an indication of a religious inclination, his prompt response was that he liked to watch the people. Pepe loves to go to church to take part in novenas, and join religious processions. He was called Manong Jose by hermanos and hermanas terceras. One of the favorite things that Jose Rizal loves to do is to pray Angelus. By nightfall, Rizal's mother gathered all the children at their house to pray together the Angelus. He also frequently visits Father Leonciano Lopez, the town priest, to listen his stimulating opinions on current events and sound philosophy of life.
3 uncles, brothers of the mother, concerned themselves with the intellectual, artistic, and physical training of this promising nephew. His 3 uncles' names are Jose Alberto, Uncle Gregorio, and Uncle Manuel. These are the brothers of his mother. His 3 uncles who played a great part in the early education of Rizal. The youngest, Jose, a teacher, looked after the regular lessons. Uncle Jose, who had been educated at Calcutta, India, was the youngest brother of Doña Chodora. He encouraged his nephew to paint, sketch, and sculpture. The giant Manuel developed the physique of the younger until he had a supple body of silk and steel and was no longer a sickly lad, though it did not entirely lose his somewhat delicate looks. Uncle Manuel was a big, strong, and husky man. He looked after the physical training of his sickly and weak nephew. He encouraged Rizal to learn swimming, wrestling, and other sports so that in later years, Rizal's frail body acquired agility, endurance, and strength. He's the one who developed Rizal's physical skills in martial arts. The more scholarly Gregorio saw that the child earned his candy money trying to instill the idea into his mind that it was not the world's way that anything worth having should come without effort. He taught him also the value of sapidity in work, to think for himself and to observe carefully and to picture out what he saw. Uncle Gregorio was a lover of books. He instilled in the mind of his nephew a great love of books. He taught him to work hard, to think for himself, and to observe life keenly. In short, Uncle Gregorio influenced him to further love reading.
Sometimes, Jose would draw a bird flying without lifting pencil from the paper till the picture was finished. At other times, it would be a horse running or a dog in chase, but it always must be something of which he had taught himself, and the idea must not be overworked. There was no payment for what had been done often before. Thus he came to think for himself. Ideas were suggested to him indirectly, so he was never a servile copyist, and he acquired the habit of speedy accomplishment. Clay at first, then wax was his favorite play materials. From this, he molded birds and butterflies that came ever nearer to the originals in nature as the wise praise of the uncles called his attention to possibilities of improvement and encouraged him to further effort. This was the beginning of his nature study. Wooden bust of his father carved by Rizal, a dog and a Cayman combat modeled at the Pitan in 1894. Jose had a pony and used to take long rides through all the surrounding country, so rich in picturesque scenery. Besides, these horseback expeditions were excursions afoot. On the latter, his companion was his big black dog, Osman. His father pretended to be fearful of some accident if dog and pony went together, so the boy had to choose between these favorites, and alternated walking and riding, just as Mr. Mercado had planned he should. Had his childish sympathies been respected, the family would have been strictly vegetarian in their diet.
Rizal's early education, influences from other members of his family. Jose Rizal's first teacher was his mother Chodora Alonso. From his mother, he learned the primacy of improving oneself. Thus, growing up, he took pains to comprehend the logic of mathematics, to write poems, to draw and sculpt, and to paint. His mother was the one who laid foundation of his great knowledge, achieved in such a short time. His brilliance was also the character of the young Jose Rizal. Rizal's three uncles, who were brothers of his mother, also had much influence in the early childhood of Jose Rizal. The youngest uncle, named Duse, took care of teaching regular lessons to Rizal. He encouraged him to sketch, paint, and make sculptures. His huge uncle Manuel developed his physique until he had a body of silk and steel and no longer a skinny and sickly boy. He taught the young boy swimming, fencing, wrestling, and other sports. The last uncle, Gregorio, instilled in the mind of Rizal that it was not easy to obtain something until you put effort into it. He taught him the value of hard work, to think for himself, and to observe his surroundings keenly. At the age of 3, Rizal learned the alphabet from his mother. At the age of 5, while learning to read and write, Rizal was already showed an inclination to be an artist. He astounded his family and relatives by his pencil drawings and sketches, and by his molding of clay. At the age of 8, Rizal wrote a Tagalog poem, Sa Aking Mga Kababata, the theme to which revolves the love of one's language.
Pasiano enrolled Rizal to the school of Maestro Justiniano Aquino Cruz. Rizal met the bully Pedro. Rizal, who angry at this bully for making fun of him during the conversation with the teacher, challenged Pedro to a fight. Rizal, having learned the art of wrestling from his Tio Manuel, defeated the bigger boy. After class, a classmate named Andres Salandanan challenged him to an arm wrestling match. Rizal, having the weaker arm, lost and nearly cracked his head in the sidewalk. In academic studies, Rizal beat all the Binan boys. He surpassed them all in Spanish, Latin, and other subjects. They were all jealous of his intellectual superiority that they squealed to the teacher whenever Rizal had a fight outside school, and even told lies to discredit him before the teacher's eyes. Consequently, the teacher had to punish Rizal. The first was Maestro Celestino, and the second Maestro Lucas Padua. Later, an old man named Leon Monroy, a former classmate of Rizal's father, became the boy's tutor. This old teacher lived at Rizal's home and instructed Jose in Spanish and Latin. As there was no formal schooling for primary education, his mentors were able to instill in him physical education, life values, and the morals of true Christian. His early education was the same as the children from an illustrious family which was rigid and strict.